We have an expert we interviewed in the course of the week. That's Dr. Idowu Oyebanji. He is the MD H-Fund Power Engineering Consultants, IPEC Limited. Will talk us through the struggles with Nigeria power sector at Nigeria at 65, and then he gave some very interesting solutions. Let's go listen to what he has to state.
I would say the lack of end-to-end investment in the Nigerian power system has been our albatross for the power system. Because of this lack of consistency in investments in the power sector over many decades from 1960s, 70s, we have ended up in a situation where there is lack of system planning. It's over 12 years now that privatization took place, and you can see that the outcome has not been the desired. The main reason for this is because power system investments are long-term investments. It takes about 2 decades or so to recoup your investments. But in the case of Nigerian power privatization exercise, as alluded to by some of the key players who batted the privatization, it was designed to fail. In what sense? The people who took over the assets were not financially and technically capable to run it. And in power systems, that means zero. You will have darkness. Technical and financial capacity is very important. Look, the people who took over the assets went to the commercial banks in Nigeria to borrow money. That means the money of ordinary citizens like myself and yourself are now the ones used. Wow. Commercial banks cannot wait for 20 years to recoup their investments. Only pension administrators, pension fund, and other long-term funds can do that. So what has happened? In the course of a few years, the commercial banks have now taken over many of the distribution companies that they borrowed loan because they couldn't pay back. The very first thing is for government to deeply entrench these electricity markets in the states. So President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on June 9, 2023, signed into law the Electricity Act as amended. And in this act, states governments have the responsibility to, or the constitutional right to regulate the generation, transmission, distribution, and supply of electricity within their domains. This should be supported by all and sundry. So all states will now run in a decentralized electricity market, which means the states can now invest in electricity systems if they wish, I suggest they do, or make the environment so conducive for investors to come in and do the investments, both for generation, distribution, and of course transmission laterally. So in this way, we are going to have increase in the quantum of electricity generation and distributed to consumers. Another thing that must be taken very seriously is meritocracy. The appointment of people, the employment of staff, the employment of administrators for each agency in the sector, in the state, has to be based on merit. Without meritocracy, without people who have experience and demonstrable experience of what they are doing in terms of power systems, you will not have a sustainable and affordable power supply. Metering. All homes shall be metered. All consumers shall be metered. The era of estimated billing, estimated darkness should go into the past. Electricity theft, electricity abstraction, and other vices like that should also be abrogated by law, and the punishment should be severe.